you are enjoying my lecture on electrostatics. Please go through it, read regularly and make notes. You will understand. And enjoy the lockdown. Now I will start. Already I have given you 4 parts on electrostatics. This is part 5. And today is 22nd. I will continue A, B, C, D and E. 5 parts are there. See, previously I have told you that what is the formula of Coulomb's law between point charges Q1 and Q2 which are placed at a distance of r in vacuum, and we have derived it is coming FO. FO means electrostatic force in vacuum, and the charges are kept in vacuum, 1/4 pi epsilon naught. This is the force. When the same charges at the same distance, same charges Q1 and Q2 at the same distance r, they are kept in other medium other than vacuum, then we have also calculated this. Fm means force in medium, 1/4 pi k epsilon naught, where k is the dielectric constant of that medium, which already I have explained. Q1, Q2. This is the now. In board examination, it is asked you establish a relation between force in medium and force in vacuum. So how you will? You, in order to maintain a relation, you do either multiplication of the 2 equations or divide it. So best method is divide first equation by second. So you will get FO upon Fm. The rest 1/4 pi epsilon naught, 1/4 pi, it gets cancelled, this whole gets cancelled, and you are left with 1/. FO is equal to Fm upon epsilon naught. So sorry, it is not epsilon naught, it is K. Sorry, it is actually K. Only K. This is K. So it gives the idea that the force in vacuum between the charges decreases by 1/k times of the force between same charges when placed in other. So this is the relation. Now this is the B part. It gives the graphical relation. Graphical relation between electrostatic force and dielectric constant, or electrostatic force and the distance between the charges. So this graph, it represents as in this from this equation, what is the relation between Fm and K? They are inversely proportional. Others are constant. So Fm is inversely proportional to K. So if values of the Fm are plotted on y-axis, the values of dielectric constants of different medium, they are plotted on x-axis, then it gives as the dielectric constant increases, the electrostatic force goes on decreasing hyperbolically, not linearly, but hyperbolically it decreases because the curve is coming. Similarly, the relation between any F and R, that is also inverse. So F is inversely proportional to 1/r square provided the charges and the distance remain constant. If different values of F you take on y-axis and the corresponding values of distances between the charges you take on x-axis, so again it implies that as the distance increases, the electrostatic force, whether it is Fm or FO, both decreases hyperbolically. So this is the thing. Now the C part. You have in 11th class, you have read about the gravitational force, universal gravitational law between the two heavenly bodies which are placed at a distance of r. You are familiar. And here also you have studied the Coulomb's law. So there is a comparison of Coulomb's law and gravitational law. So first of all, the similarities. The first similarity is both are inverse square law. That means in both the laws, in Coulomb's law, see FO or Fn, both are Coulomb's law. They are inversely proportional to the square of distance. Square of distance. Similarly, in gravitational force, F is equal to capital V m1 m2 upon r square. F is also inversely proportional to the square of distances. So that means both the laws are inverse square law. Second, the charge Q in Coulomb's law is playing the same role as the mass is playing in gravitational. Now the differences. The first difference is Coulomb force or electrostatic force of interaction between two charges. It can be attractive as well as repulsive, but the gravitational force is only attractive. That means a simple clarification is there why the Coulomb force is attractive as well as repulsive, because there are two kinds of charges, positive and negative. So maybe possibly if there are two positive charges or two negative charges, then there will be the force of repulsion, and if unlike charges, force of attraction is there. Two kinds of charges are there. That is the reason why Coulomb's force is attractive as well as repulsive. But gravitational force is attractive because the mass, the force exists, gravitational force exists between mass. Mass is always neutral. It has no charge in it. It is neither negative nor positive. The second difference is Coulomb force. Again, the spelling is wrong. Force. Coulomb force. Coulomb force depends on medium. You have seen. As the medium, as the dielectric constant of the medium is increasing, the force is decreasing. That means the Coulomb's force, whether it is attractive or repulsive, it depends on medium. But gravitational force doesn't depend on medium. The third dissimilarity, Coulomb force are stronger than gravitational forces. This is very important because in Coulomb's force comes the nuclear force also. And nuclear force are very much stronger than the gravitational force. Then the D part, importance of Coulomb's law. The first importance is this law is true for only point charges that can be separated by large distances, very large distances, very small distances, like the two proton or proton versus electrons in atom. So that distance is very small. So this law is true for point charges separated by very large distances or very small distances, even up to nuclear distances. The second is, this is the experimental law, because whatever the value is coming according to Coulomb's law, that they are according to the experiments conducted on different charges accurately. Third is, this law is true for charges at rest. This is also very important. The point charges in between which the Coulomb force is experienced, those point charges should be at rest. Then only they will create the electric field. And when they will create the electric field, then the two charges mutually will interact. They will experience action and reaction forces of electrostatic interaction. Then the fourth is, because if the charges, suppose if they are moving, later on we will discuss, if the same charge, one charge is moving, then it will not only create electric field, but it will also create magnetic field. So the interaction force will be electric force as well as magnetic force. In other chapters we will discuss. The fourth importance is Coulomb force between the two charges are action and reaction forces. Suppose if there are two charges Q1 and Q2, Q1 will interact Q2 by some force. The same force Q2 will also apply on Q1. So these are in pairs. The force, Coulomb force between two charges or three charges or four charges, they make pairs. So they can be regarded as action and reaction forces. Fifth, this force acts along the line joining the two charges. Yes, this is a central force. Central force. Central force means if the two point charges are kept, suppose Q1 and Q4 is there. These are the two charges. Then Q1 will exert force on Q4. At the same time, that same force will be exerted by Q4 on Q1, but along the same line. That is called line of interaction. Then these five are the important properties of Coulomb's law, very important. Then the E part is superposition principle. This is also, suppose if there are several point charges which are at rest and they are making a system, and you are eager to find the force being exerted on any charge, on any one charge, and so many charges are present, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, Qn, so many charges, but all are at rest. And suppose you are eager to find the total force, because I have already told you that Coulomb force are action and reaction. Obviously they will make a pair, Q1 and Q2, Q1 and Q3, Q1 and Q4, Q2, Q3. In this way they will make the pairs and the interaction force, and this one interaction force will not be affected by the presence of other charges. So if number of point charges are at rest and they are making a system, then if you want to calculate the net total force acting on any stable charge, stable means charge at rest, then that force is the vector sum of all the individual forces exerted by other charges on that particular charge. This is called the superposition principle or multiple of charges. So here there is a system in which I have taken four charges, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. These four charges are there. They are making a system. And this, I am eager to find the total net force on Q4. So this charge Q4 will experience the interacting force by Q1 also in this direction, which will be F41, means force exerted on Q4 by Q1. Then Q2 will also exert force on Q4, which will be F42, force on Q4 due to Q2. Q3 will also exert the force on Q4, which will be F43, force on Q4 due to Q3. So this is later on, next day we will discuss more about principle of superposition and vector form. Then we will jump on electric fields. Please go through it, read every part carefully. I am giving one day gap so that you can make the notes also, and next day we will discuss. Enjoy. Thank you.